Hello, my sweet book besties. Welcome to or welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Bri, and today we are gonna do my little monthly doing book things video. If you've been keeping up with me and these videos the last few months, you know that I just like to do them for a few days and get like some bookish things done. First thing on the agenda for tonight actually is I am going to Barnes & Noble. My husband is taking me out for our 6-year anniversary and he's gonna take me book shopping at Barnes & Noble, so we're gonna go do that. I will give you a haul of what I end up getting. Some other things on the agenda are I need to update my reading journal. I like to do the little printouts of it just once a month, so I need to print out my February spread. My husband just got home and we're gonna go to Barnes & Noble. You have behind your back.
The reason I was late?
For love.
Aww. You guys, he made me this card. Okay. I'm gonna read that off camera. Anyways, after we go to Barnes & Noble tonight, I will come home and probably do my haul, and then tomorrow I want to work on my reading journal, just get that printed out and then glue in like the printout stuff, and then also just like update it. Like I finished a few books, so I need to update all of the spreads, like my reading log, my monthly tracker, my genre tracker, my star rating, cross it off the physical TBR. Like I need to update a bunch of those spreads when I finish every book. So I need to do that in the reading journal as well. I want to reorganize like one shelf, like maybe one or two shelves on my bookshelf, like really nothing drastic, just like tweak them a little bit because I'm always running out of bookshelf space. So I need to tweak it a little bit. And then also I want to like, I'll try and show you, but basically I have my, what am I trying to say? My monthly TBR right here on my desk. And I kind of want to like reorganize my desk a little bit so I can have my monthly TBR displayed a little bit different. So my desk is very cluttered, as you can see, but I'm going to be moving a bunch of stuff over here. So yeah, we're going to do a little bookshelf reorg and TBR reorganization. But what I am most excited for right now is to head to Barnes & Noble for my little anniversary present from my husband. And yeah, I don't really know what other bookish things I'll have going on this weekend other than like book shopping, book haul tonight, reading journal, bookshelf reorg. Well, just a little bit.
Okay.
Just like one shelf on there, just so it's not like as cluttered. So yeah, I guess let's just head out and go to Barnes & Noble and do some book shopping to start off this little bookish vlog. Okay, it is the next day. That is why I am looking drastically different. We got home kind of late from Barnes & Noble just because the closest Barnes & Noble to me is about an hour away. So obviously like by the time we got there and after I had been in there for maybe like 45 minutes to an hour, then we got dessert and then we came home. And then after we got home, my brother stopped by for like probably an hour or so. So we were hanging out with him. So like by the time my brother left, it was bedtime. Right, so I did not show you my haul last night, but I am here to show you my Barnes & Noble haul now. Before we went into Barnes & Noble, I jokingly asked my husband, I was like, do I have a limit? Because most of the time when I am spending money on his credit card, I try to be a little bit nicer and I try to not go like crazy, right? Because I'm a nice wife like that. But he was like, well, for our 6-year anniversary, you can get 6 books if you want. And I was like, oh, Okay, spoiler alert, I did not end up getting 6 books just because I feel like the selection was not great at my local Barnes & Noble. Like, I had some books in mind, but like literally they didn't even have them. So I will show you what I did end up getting though, because I did end up getting a few. Pumpkin may want to come over here. Say hi to the vlog, Pumpkin. You. Okay, she might just sit on my lap. I don't know. I'm just gonna grab these. Oh, okay. The first one I got was Theo of Golden, and it was so weird because literally, I don't know if this is like a new release or what, but right before we left for Barnes and Noble, I was scrolling on my phone, as I do, unfortunately, and I came across a Haley fan video, and she was talking about this book, and I was like, wait, Haley fan was like raving about it. So then I went and looked it up and like looked at what it was about, and I was like, that sounds so interesting. So we walk in and it is like front and center on the front table. It's like, that's so weird because I literally just saw Haley fan talking about this, and then I went and looked it up and I was like, this sounds like an incredible, just like very, very thought-provoking, moving book. So I was like, I'm gonna keep it in mind, okay? So then I go to like the actual fiction aisle, I don't know what you want to call it at Barnes & Noble. And there it was again. And it was like, you know, when they face it out like this instead of like shelving it like this, facing out like this. And I was like, I have to get it because I feel like that is a sign from God or something that I'm supposed to buy this book and read it. So yeah, I don't really know if it's a new release. I know in Haley Fam's video, she was saying how it was like indie published before, but now it is traditionally published. So yeah, it was originally published, indie published in 2023. So this paperback came out in November, but I have never ever seen this in my Barnes & Noble before until yesterday. So I was like, that is just so weird that I literally just saw Haley Pham talking about it, and then I see it twice just like calling out to me. So do you guys want to hear what it's about, I guess? His name is Theo, and he asks a lot more questions than he answers. Theo visits a local coffee house where 92 pencil portraits hang on the walls, portraits of the people of Golden, done by a local artist. He begins purchasing them one at a time and putting them back in the hands of their rightful owners. With each exchange, a story is told, a friendship born and a life altered. A story of giving and receiving, of seeing and being seen. Theo of Golden is a beautifully crafted novel about the power of creative generosity, the importance of wonder to a purposeful life, and the invisible threads of kindness that bind us to one another. Does that not just sound like a beautiful book? So very, very excited about this. I will say another reason why I didn't end up getting 6 books is because I am trying to be conscious with my TBR. You guys know this if you've been keeping up with me. I have a very, very extensive TBR, so I'm trying to really only buy books that I want to get to very, very soon. Like, there are definitely more books that I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds really interesting, and like I would definitely read it at some point, but they're not ones that I'm like, I need to drop everything and read these books. So the books that I ended up getting, I'm like, yes, I want to read these very, very soon. If not in March, then in April, because they just like are maybe new releases, or they just sound really, really exciting to me. So that's another reason. I just like do not want to be spending money on books if they're just going to like sit and sit and sit. Next up, what did I get? Ooh, I got this copy of Pride and Prejudice. This is part of the signature editions. I love this like purpley toned cover, and then the back is also really cute. I just think that this cover is beautiful. And again, if you guys have been keeping up with me, you know that one of my goals for just reading this year is trying to read at least one classic every month. So far, so good, but I am running out of classics. I think after this month, I only have one left on my TBR, so I was like, I should probably get another classic just to have like a few options every month, you know? So I did end up getting Pride and Prejudice because I've been wanting to try out a Jane Austen novel. I've just heard amazing things about her classics, and obviously Pride and Prejudice is a very, very popular one. Like, there's several movie adaptations and people love, I think it's like 2010s? Maybe that's not right. Maybe early 2000s or like early 2010s movie adaptation people really love. I've never seen that, so I definitely want to read the book and then watch one of the adaptations. I think there might also be another adaptation coming out soon. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have no idea what this is about. I feel like with most of the classics, I have no idea what they're about. I just kind of go into them blindly. But yeah, I would love for this to be my classic of April. So like I said, we're trying to be very, what's the word I'm thinking of? I'm just trying to be very, very mindful with book buying and my TBR, because I, once again, do not want to buy books that are just going to sit around for months and months. And then the last book I got is No Matter What by Cara Bastone. This is her newest release. I think it just came out like a week or two ago. I can't remember the exact release date, but it was, I think, sometime in March. It's been like March 3rd. I absolutely love Cara Bastone. I have read Promise Me Sunshine and, why can I not think of it, Ready or Not. Ready or Not is my favorite. I like Promise Me Sunshine, but I love Ready or Not. And this one, the premise sounds really, really unique because it is about a married couple who's like on the rocks, and they kind of like take a break from each other and try to like discover themselves outside of marriage again. And I feel like that's gonna break my heart, like as someone who is married and has been with my spouse for 6 years, and it's like we definitely grew up together because we are high school sweethearts. So that just like kind of scares me, because I'm like, I love my husband more than anything, and I cannot like imagine separating from him. And I get how important like finding your own self is. A traumatic incident tests the limits of love and resilience as a couple fights to rebuild what was broken and rediscover themselves in this tender, slow burn romance. Yeah, I'm scared, but this was one of my most anticipated releases of 2026, so I am so excited to read this soon. Like, I don't know when I'm gonna read it. If I'll get to it in March, I might try and convince my sister-in-law and I to read it for our book club in April, because last year, I'm pretty sure in April as well, we read Promise Me Sunshine. Maybe it wasn't April, but I know we read Promise Me Sunshine for one of the months of our book club last year. So I thought it would be fun if we read maybe another Cara Bastone. So if she doesn't want to read this in April though, I will definitely be reading it no matter what. There's my little 3-book haul. I am so excited for these books. Let me know your thoughts on these books if you've read them. And I think now I am going to work on my reading journal. I did print out, oh, where's the other page? The printouts that we're going to be gluing in today are just my February TBR versus my February reads. And like I said, we'll also just be filling out spreads that aren't like printables. So let's start working on this reading journal. I'm so excited. I definitely have a few things to update. I need to go update my physical TBR with these books now. I love, love, love filling out my reading journal. It is just such like a very, very relaxing hobby for me. Okay, I am done updating my reading journal, so I'll just like go over what I did a little bit. Obviously, you just watched me glue in my February spreads, so my TBR versus what I actually ended up reading in February. I actually ended up reading more than what was on my TBR, so pretty proud of myself for that. I colored in a few for my reading goal. My reading goal is 100, so every time I finish a book, I color in the book based on the star rating that I gave it. So my two most recent reads that I updated in here today were a 3 and a 3.5, so I just colored them both in green, which is the color code for 3. See, I also read a book off of my list for 26 books for 2026, so I put a sticker on that, and the color of the star sticker also aligns with like the star rating that I gave it. So I read the reappearance of Rachel Price, and I gave that a 3.5 star rating. So I put a little green sticker on there. Updated my books bought and books received list. Updated my physical TBR list and crossed off a few. Updated my reading log. We are now on to the second page, which is really exciting. I've read 30 books so far this year. And then updated my monthly tracker and the genre tracker. And honestly, like, I'm shocked that romance is winning because I feel like I haven't even read that many romance books. And I think it's just because the romance books like aren't very memorable to me. Like, I definitely remember the fantasy and like the fiction and historical fiction more than the romances. So it's like if you add all of those up, it definitely beats the romances, but romance by itself is still winning, and I'm just like kind of surprised by that. And then again, just my February wrap up, whatever you want to call it. So that is all I needed to update in my reading journal. Well, I say that's all. I feel like that was still a pretty good chunk of things to update. So reading journal is done, and the last thing I really want to tackle in this doing book things video is just reorganizing my shelf a little bit. So right now on my shelf, I have some fiction books up here that I have my little cat bookends with. I think I want to rearrange my desk a little bit so I can use those cat bookends like on my desk for my monthly TBRs. So I'm going to just rearrange like this shelf and this shelf a bit so it looks prettier because we are getting cramped up on this shelf. So yeah, I am probably going to do that a little bit. I don't know if I'm gonna do it like now or if I'm gonna wait a hot minute before I do anything else. But that is next to do on our bookish list. Okay, I did not end up like reorganizing at all yesterday. My husband and I actually ended up having like a lazy movie day in bed. So yeah, I just spent a little bit of time this morning kind of redoing a few of those shelves that you saw. It was just getting like a little bit cramped within my fiction section. So I moved the bookends because I also usually keep my like monthly TBR on my desk so that I can see it every single day, like front and center, so that I know if I'm going to choose a new book to read, I should probably choose from what's right in front of me for my monthly TBR. So I decided to use my cat bookends on my desk instead of on my shelf, just so I can clear up a little bit of shelf space. Now I definitely have a little bit of room for my fiction section to grow as I read fiction books off of my physical TBR and put them on my red shelf. And I think it turned out really cute. I also like how I have my little decorations on there now. I guess I could probably show you. So I have like historical fiction over here, and then that morphs into just like my general fiction. And I have this framed photo of my husband and I from when we were literally 17. And the general fiction, or like women's fiction, literary fiction, just continues down here. And then we have a little break with my physical TBR jar. And then my book of the month books start and go on to the bottom shelf. So that's kind of what we have going on with this shelf now. Everything else above stayed the same. That's just romance books. And then, like I said, I'm now using my cat bookends on my desk, and I have my little TBR bingo behind my physical TBR, or my monthly TBR, so I can kind of cross that off when I read something from here that is on the bingo board. My desk like stayed basically the same. I just have like a lot of knickknacks and like clutter on there, so I'm pretty sure all of that stayed the same. I just moved it around a little bit. And then I also have this like wooden lap desk, so it's just like out if I want to, you know, work on my laptop somewhere not on my desk, like on the couch or in bed or literally anywhere else. So I just like keep that on my desk and I think it looks fine. But yeah, other than that, I don't think anything changed. Oh, I did move my records because I used to have like my vinyl records up on my desk as well, but I just moved those onto my record player, which is on the bottom of one of my other bookshelves. So I just moved the records to be with the record player down there so I could clear up a little bit of space up here on my desk. So yeah, basically like everything on my desk stayed the same. I just rearranged the stuff a little bit and I think it looks cute. I have also been listening to the audiobook of Across the Vanishing Sky like this whole weekend as I've been doing stuff like my reading journal and now reorganizing a little bit. Oh, I will be talking about that book in a different video. It is like a romantic suspense. You know, it's romance, but it's got a mystery element to it. It is Catherine Cowell's newest release. I will say I've been listening to the audiobook and I love the female main character's voice actress. Like, she is so good. She sounds like Beck from You, and I love her. But then like the male main character, I'm not in love with his part on the audiobook. I literally have to speed it up because he talks so slow. And then also there's like an 8-year-old kind of side character in the book. It is the female main character's son. And I hate how there's like an adult voice actor doing this like kid's voice because it does not sound like a kid at all. And it's just really, really cringy, honestly. So I love the female main characters chapters of the audiobooks, but the male main characters chapters are kind of tough to listen to, so I don't know if I would necessarily recommend the audiobook, unfortunately. But like the story and the plot is going really well, so I guess you get a little like mini reading update on Across the Vanishing Sky. But that is all the book stuff I wanted to tackle this weekend. We went book shopping, I got to update my reading journal, which I always love doing, and I got to reorganize a little bit, which I think it's always nice to like change up your space, especially now that we're getting into springtime more. So like the whole spring cleaning and just like kind of new beginnings. I don't know, I like to have a little bit of changes here and there. So I do think it looks pretty cute on my desk. I like how my bookshelf turned out, and hopefully you enjoyed this little doing book things vlog. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below if you aren't already because I post twice a week. Comment any videos you'd like to see from me in the future, and I will see you back in just a few days with another video. Bye!